So I'll show you what I'm up to here. I've got, I boned out the neck up here and taken out the back strap down here of the elk and taken off the back hind here, and I'm just about to start working on the rib meat here. Now the rib meat I've shot it a few times, so I'm going to be careful to make sure that where the bullet holes went through, there'll be some blood shot, and I'll make sure to cut all that out. You can see right here there's a bit of an exit wound here, and then I got him here and here, so he just wouldn't go down, and I thought I'd keep shooting until he did. Alright, he's a real beauty though. Okay, so I've just finished the one side here. I've got all the ribs boned out. Okay, so I'm slowly taking the quarters off this elk and boning out the back strap and all the rib meat. And one way of keeping the meat in good shape is to wrap it in these clear plastic garbage bags. I don't leave these bags on. I take them off when I get back to the meat pool to let the meat set up and clean it up a little bit further. But while I'm up here in the burn, and it's a great way to keep the bugs off and keep the dirt from kicking around on it, because eventually we're going to throw these in our backpacks and run them down the hill. Alright, so my partners have showed up and we're just loading up our packs, and we gonna have to do about 6 trips to get this guy out. I've got my load ready to go here. I've got my one hind quarter loaded up in the plastic bag inside my pack. I'm going to strap the antlers to the bag. I've got enough sort of straps and stuff on here that hopefully they'll be secure and keep them from swinging back and forth. And I use a little extra rope to suck it all together. Anyways, we got to make our way back down to the bottom of this hill here, probably about 1,000 feet or 1,200 feet down to the road. Okay, so here we are. We're back at our meat pole, and we've got our elk loaded up in our pack here, and we're about to hoist it up on the meat pole, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second here. So, guys, go ahead, and we'll see how it goes.
Ready, Jeff?
Yep.
Here's another one for you. I can give you some more if you want.
Perfect.
That's probably good though.
It'll do for now.
Jeff's over here tying off the load. And then Ryan will just go ahead and slide that pack off, and we'll see what we got left.
Good there, Jeff?
Yep.
So there's that plastic bag that we had...
that appears to have worked out pretty good.
Yep. And we'll slip that plastic bag off. And then when we're all wrapped up here, it'll look something like this one over here, which is covered in a canvas bag, and we'll just sort of walk. So we got this, our ham hanging off the meat pole here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over it real carefully, and we're going to pick off all the little bits and pieces of dirt and hair and stuff before we put the game bag on. You'll notice here I've left the testicle as evidence of sex for this guy, and up here we've got a little patch of hair for evidence of species. And then Jeff's just going to start picking away at that.
I was going to say on the other hind quarter, I assume you guys left the part of the penis coming through here, or right here, or something like that. For
absolutely,
the sex, right? Which is generally easier than the testicle.
Yeah, this was
sort of the first option.
Because we're splitting this out with our partner Ryan. We actually had to have evidence of sex on both sides, and there's only one penis to go between each ham. So the better job you do in the field of keeping dirt and hair off your meat, then there's a whole lot less work at this point. And this turned out really well. So Ryan and I did a good job, and there's almost no hair or dirt on this guy here.
The other thing about having it nice and clean like this is you get big points from the butcher when you take it in. They don't have to scrape hair off and shovel off mud, and you know, they really like it if you can do a half decent job.
Okay. So Jeff's just gonna pull up a game bag over top of this guy, and then we'll get a roll of tape hanging out here, and we're gonna tape up the top of that here.
I don't know where the roll of tape is though, personally.
We got it coming. We got an assistant here. So
even has the end free.
So one of the problems we have right now is it's a bit warm and there's some flies around. And if there's any way for a fly to get in and touch the meat, they'll figure it out. So we use black tape to wrap around the top there, and it sucks up enough and provides a seal up top there so that the flies can't work their way down. Okay. And over here, there's some other guys that have been hanging up their elk, and they didn't do it the Eat Wild way. I'm not sure what's going on here with these hooves sticking out. We would normally cut those off and leave them in the bush and do a little nicer job of hanging them up.
Something we'll show you here is the difference between the bags. These are more like your traditional cheeseclothy type bags. And the flies here have been blowing where these two quarters touched. And there's actually fly eggs inside the cheesecloth bag. Which, I mean, we'll just sweep them off here eventually. And I don't think there's much chance that it's warm enough that they can hatch into maggots. But those kind of bags work better, I think.
So we're just cleaning up Cole's elk that was hung up in with not the best game bag, so the flies were able to get through and actually lay their eggs on the meat. If it's warm enough, these eggs will actually hatch, and you'll have basically maggots working their way into the meat. So we've taken the game bags off, and we're going to take a few minutes, and we're just going to carefully slide your knife over top and then clean that right off.
So here we have hindquarters, front quarters, hindquarters, front quarters, and up over here we have bags that have maybe a loin and then a neck, or maybe that's rib meat, I'm not sure. But we try to separate them so that you don't get a whole bunch of loose pieces of meat laying in together where they have a tendency to go bad between the pieces. Like, you know, you get opportunity for bacteria on the two surfaces to get together and grow lots more bacteria. So here, these guys have got, I don't know what in here, but it's definitely more than one piece of meat. So here we're just working on organizing it so that we're going to have a string here with the separate pieces of meat separated. And this is going to go up here in a minute. And then maybe we'll look at this one.
Excellent.
Okay, if you go around a couple times, you know, you pretty well got all the pressure off the knot anyway, right? Then you must have tied the boat up sometime, right? Yeah.
So we've got our elk hung up here, and I don't know if we talked about this earlier, but we do put a tarp over top because you want to keep it cold, but you also want to keep it dry. The next thing we're going to show you guys how to do is what we do to transport the meat to get home. You know, we've got the meat nice and cold now, but we've got a long drive ahead of us, and we're heading down to the lower mainland where it's much warmer than up here in the North Country. So we're basically going to build a little cooler inside of our jet boat here. So we've put a couple of the floorboards of the jet boat are actually foam, so that's a nice insulated layer. We're going to use a bunch of tarps here, and then we're going to lay over some thermarest and sleeping bags and cover it all up and make a nice little cooler. So we'll show you how we do that here. In a big pile, we've got 2 elk in here, and we're going to go ahead and just start covering it up and make it into a cooler. Got a couple sleeping bags, you can use those. So now we've got our thermarest over top of our meat. We're just going to wrap it up with some tarps. Okay, so we're all loaded up, ready to go. We're hoping the meat will stay nice and cold. I've got the antlers stowed away inside the truck here. And now we've put our meat in the back of the jet boat, but most of the time I wind up putting the meat in the back of my pickup truck. And it's even more important to wrap it up and insulate it because you got quite a bit of heat from your exhaust system underneath the back of your pickup.
Don't lay it right on the deck of the truck.
Yeah, so never lay it on the back of the truck, and wrap it up underneath your thermarest or over top of your thermarest, and do what you can to keep that cold air that you to keep it cold all the way to the butcher. Great. So we just drove through the night and we rolled up to Sumas Meats. He's our game butcher here in Abbotsford, BC. So we roll up with our jet boat here, and then we hand bomb the quarters over into the meat shop here, and then the butcher puts them on hooks here, and then he takes a little bit of a list of what you want done: steaks, roasts, ossobuco, hamburger. Put your name on it, and then he'll slam it in the freezer here.
You want to roll across the scale, see which way's in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Let's do it. That's good. You
Need to fill in the logbook to provide a record of receipt for the animal. So there'll be some documentation where you have to write in your license number, the date you killed the animal, and what type of animal, and the size and such.
So you're sitting at about a good 280 anyways.
Cool.
A little over 280.
Excellent.
Perfect. Fill the freezer.
Yeah, and you make a happy butcher if you show up and your meat's not covered in dirt and hair and flies blow. So hopefully he's happy.
Well, you bring it in clean, get it back clean.
Pretty sure he's seen worse anyway.
Yeah. Right on. All right.